Hey everyone, Lewis aka SpiderMan1991 here with another top 5 list. Last week I did top 5 DC villains. Now I'm doing my top 5 Marvel villains. This video was a request by amayer93. So let's get started with number 5, Venom and Carnage. Yep, I'm counting them both in one spot because I feel like together they make a much bigger threat. While Venom is super strong and monstrous and has all of Spider-Man's powers as well as an immunity to Spider-Man's spider sense, in recent years he has been seen more as an anti-hero than a villain. And I think that really began with Eddie Brock's time as Venom, because as Venom, Eddie Brock was willing to kill Spider-Man and do anything to hurt him except put innocent lives at risk. Brock would usually go after Spider-Man, but if it meant harming innocents, he would not take that route. Carnage. Now, Carnage is basically the offspring of the Venom symbiote, and the Carnage symbiote bonded with a serial killer, Cletus Cassidy. As Carnage, he is a sociopath that feels no moral objection to killing everyone. Now, there really isn't much. Now, honestly, whenever Carnage is in a storyline, he's just mainly killing people. That's it. He's really just more of a physical obstacle for Spider-Man to overcome, because the Carnage symbiote, unlike the Venom symbiote, can actually replicate weapons, and if it's destroyed, it can be resummoned through Cassidy's blood. Now, to me, Carnage is definitely more of a physical challenge rather than a moral challenge. And I think if you had Venom and Carnage working together against Spider-Man, then you got a good story, and then you got a good challenge for the old web slinger to overcome. And also, I like how these two villains would not exist if Peter Parker never brought back the alien costume that he acquired in the first Secret Wars. Spider-Man inadvertently creating his own enemy. Kinda seems like I've heard that one before. Moving on. Number 4, Ultron. When Hank Pym took a swing at robotics, he unknowingly created one of the deadliest AIs in the Marvel Universe. Ultron has constantly tried to destroy the Avengers in order to proceed with his plans to take over the world and replace it with robots. And every time Ultron has fought the Avengers, he's usually done so in a new body that he constantly upgrades. Hell, he even sometimes upgrades himself during storylines. And a villain that always upgrades and changes his form is definitely serves as a good challenge. And I think the best storyline that shows how much of a threat Ultron really is the storyline Avengers Ultron Unlimited. This took place during Kurt Busiek and George Perez's Avengers run. And during the story, Ultron basically commits genocide on a small island nation and takes over the island. Then he starts turning the corpses of the victims into Ultron drones so he can build his own army. And now since we live in a world that is so heavy on technology and computers, this is basically an open season for Ultron. Number 3, Thanos. Yeah, I know, Thanos and Darkseid, they are very similar. They are basically the same character. A lot of people say it. And you've got some people saying Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid, Darkseid is a ripoff of Thanos, whatever. The reason why Thanos is number 3 on this list and Darkseid is number 5 on my other list is because of this factor. Darkseid, he wants to control everyone in the universe. Thanos wants to kill everyone because he's in love with death. And because of this love of death, Thanos is constantly always killing people. First instinct is to kill anyone who gets in his way. And when he finally got the Infinity Gauntlet, the most powerful object in the Marvel Universe, the first thing he did was kill half the universe. Half the entire population of the entire universe gone. And to me, that is deadly. A villain that basically worships death and is in love with death to the point that he'll kill anyone who is no longer of use to him or if they get in his way, is very deadly. And that scene that I mentioned about him getting the Infinity Gauntlet, killing half the universe, I really want to see that happen at the end of Infinity War. I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to end Infinity War. Thanos gets the gauntlet, then he decides to kill half the universe, and that's where he'll use it. We'll get a big flash at the beginning of the next, at part 2, or Avengers 4, whatever they're going to call it, we see that we see like half the hero is gone. Then Tony like checks and he's like, half the universe is apparently dead. What? I mean, come on, that would be really awesome. Number 2, Norman Osborn, the first Green Goblin, Spider-Man's arch foe, the one that is responsible for a number of tragedies in Spider-Man's life, particularly the death of Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker's first love. Now, in addition to the Goblin Serum, which gives Norman incredible strength, Osborn also has a brilliant strategic mind. Obviously, even before he was injected with the serum, because he owned and ran his own corporate empire. And even though the Goblin Serum did actually cause Norman to go insane, if you read the end of Superior Spider-Man, Peter actually found a cure for the Goblin Serum and injected it with Norman before he got, at the end of the story, before Norman got away. And this time, though, Norman vows to still destroy Spider-Man, except this time he doesn't have the Goblin Serum clouding his mind. So now his mind is perfectly clear, and it is going to be interesting seeing his return to the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, which, according to Marvel's solicitations for this upcoming March, is going to be the story that we're going to be dealing with right after Clone Conspiracy ends. So I cannot wait for that. Also, another reason Norman is on number 2 on my list is because he discovered Spider-Man's identity. Well, he was like the first villain to ever discover that Spider-Man was Peter Parker, and this was way in the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man. I believe the exact issue is Amazing Spider-Man number 39, and in it, the Goblin basically hires a bunch of thugs to fight Spider-Man, then throw a gas grenade at him, which will null his spider sense. So that way, Osborn, as the Green Goblin, could follow Spider-Man around and not have Peter's spider sense alert him that the Goblin is near. So he basically follows Spider-Man into an alley, watches him change to Peter Parker, follows him to the Daily Bugle, learns his name. Then, when Peter goes back to Aunt May's house, he attacks him there on the front lawn, ties him up, and drags him off to a warehouse to hold him as his prisoner and torture him and stuff. And the reason I think that's important is because this was way early in Spider-Man's career. This was still during the Silver Age, where superhero identities were still a thing. Secret identities were still a thing and very well protected. And the fact that Spider-Man's arch enemy learned who he was, that's definitely a big deal. Even though later Norman got amnesia several times and forgot he was the Green Goblin, forgot who Spider-Man was, and up until his death, in which case when he returned, he officially remembered everything. And even still, he never went public with the information and just kept it to himself so that he could use it and attack Peter anytime he wanted. Now for my number 1 pick, Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom is a brilliant scientist, and he's a master of sorcery. So you got so instead of having a major villain that's a master of magic or a master of science, Victor is both. And he's also the ruler of his own country, Latveria. Now, interesting enough, Doom is actually pretty good at his job as ruler of Latveria, because when in a story arc where the Fantastic Four decide to help some rebels overthrow Dr. Doom, they successfully do so. However, a few years later, Doom needs their help to take back the throne, because it turns out the guy they got to replace Doom is actually way worse. So they realize, okay, Doom actually does care about Latveria. We fucked up big time, so now we gotta get this guy back in power. So they successfully do return Doom to power, and he does control Latveria for a long time. And also, another cool thing about Dr. Doom is during this All Ages miniseries, Dr. Doom and the Masters of Evil, Doom goes through this ritual to get one wish. And this wish apparently does work. There's no consequence. And when he finally does get the wish, the one thing he wishes is to no longer feel any sense of guilt or remorse. So that way, now whenever Doom does something, he'll feel no remorse. He'll know it's the right thing. And doing that, I think, is really badass and kind of cements how well he thinks he knows what he's doing, in a way. Recently, despite Doom ruling his own country and being a master of science and magic, he still wants more power, constantly wants more power. He's stolen the power of the Beyonder, he's stolen the power, cosmic power of the Silver Surfer, and lastly, and a couple of years ago during the most recent Secret Wars, Doom became God. He became God and reshaped the Marvel Universe in his own image. However, at the end of the story, right before Reed Richards and Sue Storm left with their kids to explore the multiverse, the last act they did was restore Doom's face. And when the universe was set back to normal, Doom kind of got a renewed sense of purpose and decides to be more heroic. And he currently stars as the new Iron Man in Infamous Iron Man. Okay, so another ex-villain who's now trying to become more of a hero. Yeah, I totally hear the similarities now between him and Luthor. And like I said in the DC video, can't wait to see how he screws this up. So yeah, oh, also, before I close out, I just want to point out that Stan Lee, the creator, Marvel architect, God of the Marvel Universe, has even said that Dr. Doom is his favorite villain because all Doom wants to do is rule the world. So if Stan the Man says Doom is his favorite, you've got to take your word for it that Dr. Doom is awesome. So, alright, that's it. That was my top 5 Marvel villains. What'd you guys think? Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings in the comments below. Check out my top 5 DC villains list. I'll put a link to it. Thank you again for watching. Thanks for saying subscribe to my channel. I'm SpiderMan9391 saying see you later.